Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Ruffalo Reads. So today I thought it would be really fun to do the reading 1-star reviews of my favorite books video. I saw this from Caitlin from the Love Librarian. She did this recently and it was just hilarious. I absolutely love her and her energy, her channel, her everything. So I'm gonna link that video of hers in the description or in the comments. I'm not sure yet, but yeah, loved that, loved her video, and I think a few other people have done it as well, and I probably watched all of them. I just can't remember off the top of my brain right now, but without further ado, let's get into reading my favorite books get roasted. So I have my laptop here to do my little, inspections of what's going on out there on a lovely old Goodread. If I'm looking down, that is what I'm doing. All right, I'm scared. Let me find a 1-star review for this bad boy. I guess I should preface this by saying the first book that I'm going to get into is It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. We all know how much I love Colleen Hoover, just solely from my last video. Okay, so I have to kind of, weave through. Some of them are just so long that I'm like, okay, we don't need a fucking whole page on why you didn't like this book. So I'm not gonna post a person's name or anything either. So the first person says, this book sends a really important and worthwhile message, but it's not necessarily enjoyable. It was not what I expected it to be. Started knowing next to nothing about the storyline, except that it's a Colleen Hoover book and a romance, and that it's good. But if I'm being honest, I was disappointed. I was hoping for a light read with lots of feels, but instead I got something much more intense. So that sounds like a you problem to me, but anyways. Somebody rated it 1-star, DNF at 18%. F this book, why people continue to swoon over characters who treat them like dog shit is beyond my realm of thought. Yeah, it's called a cycle of abuse, and this stuff happens a million times every single day, so okay. I get that, maybe you don't want to read it and it's not enjoyable to read, but, shitting on people for how they feel and how they react when they're, in love and with somebody, that's shitty of you, so I would say F you. Somebody said, incredibly predictable, highly overrated, and full of characters and ridiculous moments I disliked. Okay. Sure. Somebody said, just no. I don't know what to say for that. Okay. Somebody said, okay, here we go. Naked truth. I'm just part of the minority that didn't like It Ends With Us, and I'm okay with that. You guys may have loved this, but honestly, I just didn't feel like I was reading a Colleen Hoover novel. The writing didn't read the same. There was massive disconnections with the characters, and the story was a little sloppy. I highly disagree with that. I think that this is the epitome of Colleen Hoover's writing. Honestly, this is what she's, this is her most popular, I'd say, book. And it's getting a spinoff because people want a spinoff so bad. And to say that it's not like her is insane to me. And it's personal to her too. So maybe it did feel a little bit different in tone that way because it had more of a connection with herself and her story personally. But that's very interesting. All right, one more and then we're going to move on to another favorite book. All right, this person says, what kind of crack were you on to enjoy this piece of shit? Because I would like some. It's the worst thing I've ever read. It pisses me off to see people like this book because people are either overlooking the problematic aspects or thinking it's okay. This is what I don't like. If you don't like a book, that's totally fine. I hate certain books that other people absolutely love. And some of those are people who I love and love their reviews, and we generally have the same ideas and tastes, and then sometimes it just doesn't work out. And, who cares? But to be you're a piece of shit because you liked this book. Do you know how many people love this book? How many people like this book? No, I don't like that shit. Anyways, we're gonna move on. All right, next I'm gonna go with an oldie. I guess both of these are oldies but goodies. This is The Bride Test by Helen Huang. I absolutely adored The Kiss Quotient, adored The Bride Test. They were refreshing, especially for the traditionally published romances I was reading. It was something a little bit different, something a little spicier. It has good, I don't know personally, but from what I've heard and what I've seen, it has good, autism representation, which is, and, just in and of itself nice to see in a main character, especially for the time that these were written and, the author is on the spectrum herself. So I don't know, these stories were really beautiful. to me, I loved it. This specifically, we're going to talk about the bride test. So let's get into these 1-star reviews. Oh God. All right. Somebody gave it 1 star. Sorry, but I've changed my mind. 1.5, crossed out, 1 star. I really, really, really despise this book. While I do understand the fact that sadly getting an education is still a privilege, a luxury many people in this world can't afford, I do not approve of romanticizing it, especially in the most stupid way. God forbid, I don't have anything against honest work, but was it really necessary to choose the toilet cleaner as the potential male bride for your autistic son? Wow. Okay. This person has some issues to resolve. Moving on. Unpopular opinion coming through, 1-star review. This book sucks. Okay. The 3rd book was made from Kai's character, which a lot of people loved. But then I'm not even talking about the 3rd book, but okay, so we're gonna read this guy's review. He says, this was very disappointing to me. I'm afraid I hung up on one aspect of Kai's character and never recovered. Esme was awesome and I loved everything about her, with the exception of her cowardice, but I'll get to that. But I couldn't stand Kai. His self-loathing was tedious and annoying, and the amount of pain it brought to the story galled me. I hated that it persisted to the very end. I hated that it was so poorly justified, and I hated that it has supposedly persisted for over a decade with nobody noticing or doing anything about it. Kai is different, autistic, and I kind of expected that Huang would do as well a job with him as he did with Stella in the previous book, and for the internal workings of his character, she mostly did. But the family around him, yeah, not so much. I don't know what these people are talking about, honestly. Like, it's just crazy to me. This is my 2nd book from Helen Huang, and I think it's safe to say that I won't be picking up her books anymore. Truthfully, I was somewhat iffy with several things about The Kiss Quotient, which was Helen Huang's debut novel in 2018. After my reading experience with The Bride Test, I am fully convinced that I'm just not the right audience for her books. And you know what? It's kind of nice when people do come to that conclusion, because then it's like, great, stop reading her books and giving them 1 stars because of some weird problem that you have with it. I read this 2 months ago and still have no idea how to voice my disappointment. This book was such a letdown. I can't believe I'm about to hit the 1-star rating after writing this review. Wow, people like just want to go on and on and on, don't they? It's like, just say what you think in like condensed version. We want a Twitter version of this. Somebody said DNF 0 stars. Really hitting her where it hurts there. Somebody just said no, 1 star, and then they gave recommendations for other books with better autism representation. Completely hated it. Was a huge struggle even to finish to the last page. Okay, so this might be a constructive one. Somebody said the good, and then they said the good. The bad, I was uncomfortable with the general premise of this book, as I've heard enough horror stories of impressionable Indian girls being taken to America or Canada for marriage. Okay, the premise also led to extremely unequal power dynamics. Yeah, that's the whole point. I didn't really understand why Kai and Esme liked each other, apart from the fact that they were both hot and had great sex. They had to build that. That's the whole plot of the book. Okay, I'm done with that. We're gonna move on to the next book. All right, now I'm gonna go with one of them that I've talked about a bunch of times on my channel that I love so much, and that is more of a recent favorite, which is Taste from Melanie Harlow. And I know a lot of people, even people here on BookTube and stuff and on my Instagram that I'm friends with and everything, don't love it. So, because it has one of those tropes that people don't love. So let's see, let's make myself sad. All right. DNF at almost 70%. I really battled against my better judgment to reach that 70%, and that too only cause Pinky clearly liked this book. I don't know what that means. Anyways, moving on. Somebody said 1 star, the female lead got on my nerves. Right. Somebody said 1 star. The first half was sort of okay, but when it came to pregnancy, it all went downhill. Of course, I didn't really like H, but that didn't make me quit the book. What made me quit it was, what the hell are you talking about? Okay, I don't know. Somebody said 1 star, should have skipped. Loved Ignite and most of her other books, but I could hardly get through this book. What? And when I finished, I was left thinking, that's it? Characters felt immature and annoying. I felt the same conversation happen multiple times and got boring. Okay. Somebody said DNF, there's nothing worse than a one-night stand ends in pregnancy trope. Okay, if you don't like the trope, I feel like Caitlin right now, but if you don't like the trope, don't read the book. All right, somebody said DNF, boring characters, slow, boring story, just not my cup of tea. Was not slow, was not boring to me. I was so excited for their for their story. But spoiler alert, the pregnancy ruined it for me. It says that, it does say that right on, I have the physical book. So when the tension between us explodes with enough fiery heat to melt my icy defenses, I should have known that the disastrous end result would be a big fat plus sign, a pregnancy. So if you don't like that trope and it bothers you to your core, then don't read this. Like I said before, I don't know how I feel about it right now, because obviously, you know, that's one of my favorite books and it didn't bother me. I don't mind kids in books. I don't mind pregnant, like, I don't know. It doesn't bother me. DNF Madness was boring and I couldn't connect with the characters. They both annoyed me. I expected this one to be funny, but much to my dismay, the banter was far from being funny or witty. Oh, I loved their banter. I thought it was so fun and cute, but okay. So those are the bad reviews for Taste, my baby. No. How could you not love Gianni Lupo? All right, we're going for a thriller. This is one of my favorite thriller authors lately. It's Alice Feeney, and I'm gonna do rock, paper, scissors because that's my favorite from her so far. So there are no, hold on, I'm on the wrong screen. Somebody rated it 1 star, said, I feel like this sentence was a dare. The woman wore her bitterness like a badge, the kind of person who writes 1-star book reviews. And she said, challenge accepted. You need professional help potentially, so we're gonna just move on from that. I'm writing a fresh review because the previous one, which I'd written simultaneously while reading this damned book, wouldn't even barely come close to the anger I now feel after having finally completed the book. To put in simple words, I'm fuming. The author seriously was wasted when she wrote this, I think. I love how they added the I think. It was horrible. Poorly executed story. I mean, can it get any more lame? The beginning was a big unnecessary information dump. Tedious work to read through those. This is the tale of 3 psychotic people who take turns rock, paper, scissoring their lives away. I mean, that was just... Okay, so they go on and on and on and on and on and on and on. So we're not going to do that. So I can't anymore with these thrillers that are all about the twist. Ma'am? Do you know what a thriller is my question. The main twist was apparent well ahead of its reveal. So that's situational, person to person. You can't just blanket say that. So badly written with characters who are ridiculously stupid and unlikable. It's a thriller. Usually, in my opinion, this is my opinion, a lot of good thrillers to me have unlikable characters. Like, that's the whole point. What do you, like, you obviously want to like some of them, potentially. Potentially not, though. I don't know. All right. Actual lines in this book. You can't unbreak an egg when you've already whisked it into an omelet. All right. 2 wrongs sometimes make an ugly, okay? I have bitten my tongue so many times already on this trip, it must be full of holes. What are those quotes? Like, okay. Somebody said, oof, the character I was most interested in was the dog. And it's like, burn. Somebody said, 1 star. What a waste of my time. Just call me 1-star Patty. I'm hit or miss with thrillers, and this was a disastrous miss. That Adam has prosopagnosia is way too convenient. Okay, that's what the book hinges on. You can't say somebody's, like, diagnosis is convenient. Oh my God. All right, well, we're done with her. I'm gonna do maybe 1 or 2 more. We'll see. All right, next let's stick to the thriller train. Let's do The Island by Adrienne Mckinsey. I just finished this recently, like this month, and I had so much fun with it. I listened to the audiobook and it had like rain sounds and gunshots, like sound effects, and it was just super fun. It wasn't like my favorite thriller, but I rated it 4 stars. It was really good, I thought. The ending was like kind of meek, but I don't know, it was like a happy ending, so it was fine. Somebody said, DNF at 70%. Does it feel moist to you? Heather asked. It's like the graham cracker base of a cheesecake, which that's a line from the book. And she goes, no. God, I cannot wait for this miserable book to end just to see how it turns out. But people don't talk like this, especially children. What? Children don't talk about cheesecake, comparing them? Yes. Okay. People are just so crazy. ENF'd 36 pages in. The dialogue was insufferable. It could be just me, but anyone need the toilet? Fab toilets in here. Heather, looks like you gambled on a little... okay, no. Narrator 3 stars, story 1 stars. It's hard to organize my thoughts, so instead I'll make a list. No. So people are saying that they liked his other book, but didn't like this one. Oh, please. Murderous Australian hillbillies, murderous Americans, a gal who happens to know how to use weapons and has some extreme survival skills, kids who are obnoxious spoiled brats but are somehow science whizzes, all are a part of this crazy book. Oh my goodness. I'm going to take this book to my closest little book library and hope someone enjoys it more than I did. And that's a very good sentiment, and I think a good place to end this sad video. If any of these were your favorites, please let me know. If you've given books 5 stars, 1 star, let me know. Let me know why. Did you get that mad? I think I definitely have given 1 stars before. It's definitely few and far between. But this was really fun to film. I'm glad that I sat down and decided to do it. And I hope you guys like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, bye guys.